So let's continue on talking about these tackles in this year's class. And the next one that we have up on the agenda is going to be Broderick Jones out of Georgia. And Broderick, he is going to be, your straight up offensive tackle guy. Don't really see much versatility out of him. Pretty much was a 1-year starter at the position, which was this year at Georgia. But some teams, according to Dane Bugler, have him as the offensive tackle 1. And the big thing for him has been the athleticism. At his size, a unreal athlete, reportedly hit 19 miles an hour at his size. I mean, 6'4", 310 I have him down at. And the athleticism was very evident on the field. And this guy easily could be a multi-year starting offensive tackle. And one that not a lot of people are talking about right now. And I can see him start to fall potentially, listening to all the tea leaves and, insider, news droppings here and there that they're leaving for everyone to scoop up on. Not a lot of Broderick Jones that people are talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I think this comes back to our conversation earlier about kind of the quality of the draft class and how at the beginning, there were the guys. Broderick Jones, Peter Skoronski, Paris Johnson, and then pretty much nothing else. Now we're seeing all these other guys come up in here and really show themselves out. And it's kind of pushed some of these guys back. And Broderick Jones has taken the hit. He's taken the biggest hit of the other 3 guys. And personally, I never saw him as the offensive line 1. I didn't see it. I think he's still a very good player and has the potential to be a very good offensive tackle. But, I mean, again, not as much experience as a starting left tackle. I mean, he gives up a lot of ground when it comes to power rushing. He's got good strength, and he should be good footwork as well. It's just, overall, when I'm thinking, all right, we've got a top 15 pick, and these guys are all available, Broderick Jones definitely isn't the first guy that comes to mind.
Yeah, and the experience definitely hurts him. 19 starts at the tackle position in his entire career at Georgia, which isn't the best in what you want to think about and what you want to consider. So definitely raw in terms of experience, but I think the talent is there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this guy has one of the best hand strengths and is an absolute latch when he gets onto a defensive lineman coming right at him. When he latches onto him with his hands and with his grip, the play's pretty much over for that defensive lineman. So that, I think, is a lot to like about him. Just the physicality in him, the finishing nature again with him, and the way he blocks in his game. And I think there's a lot of potential and a lot of upside where teams, might, be enticed by that. And again, like Dane Bugler said, some teams have him as a top, offensive lineman on their board, where it's definitely, understandable to see why.
I think there's a player comp for him that not only is a comparison of the type of player he is, but also the progression of what his career could be. And that's Andrew Thomas. I think very similar types of players, and also Andrew Thomas did not have the best start to his career. It took him a little while to get used to the level of the NFL, and I think it's going to be the same for Broderick Jones. I mean, Broderick Jones, we've mentioned this, not a lot of starts. Didn't happen. He just couldn't get used to the NFL level, and now he had a great season for the Giants, Andrew Thomas. And I think Broderick Jones is going to take some time. He's going to have to get used to it. He's going to get lashed a lot, especially by fans, depending on what team he goes to, if he does get the start right away. But I think overall he will end up being a very good offensive tackle player in the NFL. It's just going to take him time. I think a good place for him would be a team that has a veteran tackle at the position already, and whether it's just a veteran teacher where, he's still going to start, but he's going to have someone to kind of coach him through everything, or it's going to be the Eagles, for example. Lane Johnson starting. Him coming in kind of as a backup, and after Lane Johnson retires, he comes in and takes the position. So very similar thing like that, where I think he's not going to make an impact right away, and if he does start right away, he's going to struggle, but eventually he'll get his feet wet, and he'll come to his own.
All right, let's get to some tape on Broderick Jones and showcase, some of the ferocious nature that I was talking about at Georgia and what he was able to do with, a good offense this year and, just overall good protection against some of these top teams as well. So, again, a lot to like. Again, the grip strength to me was phenomenal and outstanding in his game. When he was on a defender, he didn't really get off the defender until the rep was over, which I thought was good, but he's not a guy where he's going to punish a guy and then go find another guy. Move up to the next level and take out multiple guys on one play. He's a more relax and stay on him type of guy, which works really well for a pass-heavy offense, where he's just going to stay there and be an anchor on one top edge rusher in the class, or on an opposing team.
Yeah, I think the big thing for me is he's in the developmental phase of his career.
Yeah.
His technique is not there, completely there. He's just not a finished product. But he has all of the athletic and physical gifts that you need in an NFL quality starting offensive tackle. Now you just need to unlock it. You need to be patient. You need to know what you're getting with him. So if you're a top 10 team, just say it's the Eagles for now. The Eagles at the number 10 pick, you draft Broderick Jones, you need to know, all right, he's not starting day one. Or if he does start day one, you got to be sure that you may need a little help with him. Give a little more max protect maybe, just have the guard stay back. Maybe the running back is going to stay as more of a extra blocker on some plays, just give him a little more protection. But I think he, as I mentioned, got the potential to be a very, very good offensive tackle. Could potentially be the best one that comes out of the class. I think the guys that we've talked about and Broderick Jones so far are the guys that we see as the potential number one in 2-3 years' time.
Yeah.
But he's just going to take a little more time than some of these other guys.
Yeah, and for me, he seems like a guy that's going to be in your mid-20s. A
Yep.
mid-20s type pick in this year's class.